Dharma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. Talk 1-6, 11th to the 17th of December 1961. Questions and answers by Visākha and Dhammadinna. I condense the story of Visākha and Dhammadinna told by Sayadaw. It was based on Kula Vedala Sutta, Sutta number 44 of Majjhima Nikaya. T1. King Bimbisara invited the Buddha to his place and he gave talks there. Visākha, the merchant of Rajagaha, listened to these talks 3 times separately. And each time he realized the Dharma, and the last time became a non-returner, Anagaman. Later his wife Dhammadinna asked him permission for entering the Bhikkhuni Sangha. She went to a quiet place for 7 days and practiced there and became an Arahant. After she came back from the retreat, Visākha went to see her and asked questions on Dhamma. You'll have the chance to hear the questions and answers between Visākha and Dhammadinna from identity view, Sakkaya Ditthi, to Nibbāna. Then Sayadaw told the story of them. Therefore, the path knowledge, Magga Nana, surely has the power of energy to destroy defilement, kilesas. What is Sakkaya? It's the 5 aggregates, khandhas. The real existence of mind-body is Sakkaya. People here, the audience, understand Sakkaya Ditthi as a combination. It's the natural qualities of the aggregates, Paramatta Dharma of the 5 khandhas, and they really exist, and you can call it Sakkaya. It's important to understand that the Buddha's teaching is for practical purpose to end dukkha. Not for the philosophical thought games like later tradition. Some people say that you have a lot of Sakkaya. It is wrong to use it in this way. Sakkaya is not a fault. It means mind-body, only wrong view is wrong. Form, rupa, is Sakkaya. If you take it as I or me, become wrong view. People don't know that form is truth of dukkha and think it as I or me. Then it can lead to the woeful planes. I am cold, I am hot, etc. In this way the I is interfering with Sakkaya. Knowing form, rupa, as form, and it becomes knowledge. I have a good meal, this is the I interfering with feeling. So, viewing Sakkaya in the wrong way becomes wrong view. I perceive it, this interferes with the perception. Don't misunderstand my intention, this interferes with the volition. But here, one has to remember that I in speech is not a fault, but only take it as the real me. People already clear about this point, and by using only in speech is not in fault with it. It's a relative truth and we need to use it for communication. The Buddha himself used it. People have wrong view not in this way, and they think it as real. If nobody explains for it, these thoughts are overrun through in countless times. For the one who knows this point, they know that their speech and the reality are different things. Don't test my mind, it becomes wrong view in consciousness. If someone comes in and tests him, what will happen? Then they become in a quarrel. The cause of wrong view is sure enough in this case. Regarding with wrong views, people are quarreling and fighting among them. If interfering with wrong view in any one of the aggregates, it can become the view of the annihilation, Akeda Ditthi. For example, if I die, I also die. When my mind comes to an end, I also end. These are the ideas of totally cut off. I'll die with this Vedana. This include both identify view and annihilationism. If you have wrong view and clinging to view will follow. Still alive we have view of permanence and near dying view of annihilation. When business is going well Sassata Ditthi, and during illness Akeda Ditthi, not knowing about these things is living a bad long life. Wrong view is the seed of hell. Why? With it follows by clinging to view. I will never give up my view, become clinging, and do what I think, become action. Is it action, kamma, or wrong view, ditthi, leading one to the woeful planes for rebirth? You may think beings fall into these planes are because of unwholesome actions. It is not so. Wrong view is making the programming and action has to follow it. The same as craving, tanha, The Buddha mentioned wrong view as great tanha and greed, lobha as small tanha. I can't overcome this Vedana. This is the I-ness go and mixed up with Vedana. Vedana is arising and passing away by itself. Have to observe it like a stranger. Painful feelings come and go. Good feelings also come and go. Neutral feeling is also in the same way. The observing mind is also the same. This is dispelling wrong view. Feeling arising on the body and the observing mind is happening inside. So, don't mixed up. If you don't mixed up these things, then wrong view can't come in. Take it as a stranger. Then you know it as not self. The knowledge of not self comes into being. You must observe in the khandha, it appears as a guest and dies as a guest. It's equal to prato, stranger. There were 10 contemplations in the suttas mentioned by the Buddha and Sariputta. How to contemplate in 10 different ways on khandha. Prato was one of them. I will teach you the contemplation of not self. The Buddha also had dukkha vedana on the body but no mental feeling in the mind. This was different from the common beings. The Buddha only had bodily pain and no mental pain. Why is that? That is because he had the ability to observe or see it as a guest. All the 5 khandhas and whatever arising are guests. It was just like guests come and go. Take it as the host, you will suffer. As an example, if my son dies, it will hurt me. In reality it's nothing to do with you, he is only a guest. He came to you but not you wanted him. If you want him to go and he will not. If you are in tears, and already mixed up the guest with the I. Most women are in tears, because they making the guests as hosts. In the words, my daughter, the mother's I, and the daughter's I, are intermingling. The daughter's mind-body is nothing to do with the mother's mind-body. We are in tears is not because of misfortune, but the cause of intermingling. The mother's wrong view and the daughter's identity, sakkaya, become mixed up. When it shows it's not self-nature and it hurts me. The mother's string of wrong view goes and connects with the daughter's aggregates, and then clinging to view arises, ditthāpadana. There will be no tears to fall without mixed up wrong view with sakkaya. Whatever changing in the world, my mind is not moving, this is someone does not have wrong view. Ariya's mind is not moving when they encounter with the 8 worldly winds. No connection with the string of wrong view. Someone here will be in stressful when something happens to one's own child in England. This is 6,000 miles away. Too long is the string of wrong view. You are in tears because someone had tortured you or you went to mix thing up. Bind 2 oxen together with a rope. If one of them is falling into the cliff and the other is also. Without wrong view whatever happened to the mother, the daughter is all right. In the same way to the daughter, the mother is all right. In this way no painful rebirths will come to be and in this life also no suffering. Don't mix up one's own khandhas with one's wrong view. The Buddha said that there is no fault greater than wrong view. It can lead to commit the 5 heavy kammas. Killing one's own father is ditthi. There is nothing it can't do. In the unwholesome dharmas, wrong view is the most fearful one. If I die, Vedana also die, when the fire go out, the light also die out. So take the fire and light together. Fire and light are different things. Fire is heat and light is brightening. Different types of feeling arises in turn, these reveal its unstableness. So try to see the arising and passing away. In this way, no I-ness mixed up with the process. There is no I in the arising and also no I-ness in the passing away. Take all these as stranger. Living beings fall into painful rebirths and not by feeling but wrong view. Feeling is conditioning wrong view. Vedana pakaya ditthi. T2. Kula Vedala Sutta is the answers to the questions of Dhamma. Here Sayadaw told the story in brief. After became an anagaman, i.e., Visākha, his faculties were calm and serene. His Dharma attainment was not suitable to this sensual world. By contemplating impermanence, the defilements become thin. Arriving at the knowledge of disenchantment, it becomes thinner. At the end it's eradicated. Therefore the practice is never wasting. Only this medicine can free someone from the danger of old age, sickness and death. This is the only refuge you can rely on. If you have samadhi, tanha craving, dukkha will follow. Even knowledge of impermanence, vipassana gnana, is quite effective. 1. What is sakkaya? It's only asking for sakkaya and not including the wrong view yet. It's the clinging of the 5 khandhas. What are the 5 khandhas? These are form aggregates, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, fabrication aggregates and the consciousness aggregates. She answered it as the present 5 khandhas. Still he did not believe it, because it could be answered by book knowledge. It's important for you all to understand that. This present 5 khandhas is sakkaya. 2. What is the cause of sakkaya, khandhas? It comes from craving, tanha, craving for sensual pleasure, kama tanha, craving for becoming, bhava tanha, and craving for non-becoming, vibhava tanha. The cause of mind-body is coming from craving. Khandhas arise from tanha, upada and kama. The main source is craving. Without tanha dying out and sakkaya khandha will exist. With the khandha the dangers of old age, sickness and death follow behind it. All those arise by the craving of becoming and surrounded by many kinds of dukkha. Because of the fish smell flies are coming. In the same way because of sakkaya, the 5 khandhas, dangers are coming. By wind blow suffer from the danger of wind. Because of heat suffer from the danger of heat. The cause from wicked dharma only brings wicked things. Only these are arising. If you can see the impermanence of sakkaya, you will transcend its empire. Sakkaya is the truth of dukkha. Seeing dukkha sakka and tanha samadhi must thin out. After thinning out tanha, dukkha become less and less. Someone with affection will encounter dukkha and hurt himself. With more affection more harmfulness. When sakkaya changes and samadhi also changes, then sorrow, grief and lamentation come in. 3. Tell me the ending of sakkaya. If craving ends, it will end also. In short, with the ending of samadhi and dukkha ends also. Tanha nirodho nibbānam appears, the cessation of craving is Nibbāna. The Buddha could enter into the Nibbānic state even during the Dharma talk, within the period of in-breath and out-breath. He also started it from impermanence, arising and passing away, and instantly turned towards Nibbāna. 4. Tell me the practice to the ending of sakkaya. It's the Noble Eightfold Path. If not entered any of the path yet it has to contemplate with the 5 path factors, i.e. Samma Sati, Samma Vayama, Samma Samadhi, Samma Ditthi, Samma Sankappa, right mindfulness, right effort, right concentration, right view, right intention. It's called Panca Maganga or Karaka Maganga, the working path factors. After the first path, proceed with the 8 path factors, i.e. from Sakadagaman to Arahantship. Why these factors called Maganga, i.e. the 5 path factors? That is because it cuts off defilement temporary. If it can cut off defilement, and then become the Dharma to Nibbāna. Just contemplate impermanence and without doing anything, you are temporary in Nibbāna. Dana, Sila and Samatha are supportive factors for the Maganga. They are decisive support condition, Upanasaya Pakayo, and Maganga is path condition, Magga Pakayo. I.e. the far and near causes. The Noble Eightfold Path is Sila, Samadhi and Panna. Panna is the leading factor. 5. Tell me the clinging aggregates, Upadana. The 5 khandhas are the objects of clinging. 6. Clinging and clinging khandhas are the same or separate. It's neither the same nor separate. How to understand it? For your clear understanding I have to come in. Khandhas exist by itself, as examples the khandhas of son and wife. If it's only Sakkaya, then it becomes the sense objects and not the sense objects of clinging. The clinging from here goes to connect the other side of the khandhas and become the clinging khandhas. The other side is 5 khandhas and this side is craving, and these two connect together become clinging khandhas. Without connection it is not. It's only contact with the sense object and the sense organ, Aramana and Aramanika. The khandhas and tanha are not the same. People have craving become clinging khandhas. We can't bear even mosquito bite. Therefore, it's connected. It's unbearable when it hurt our beloved khandhas. Khandhas are the place of clinging. Some people mix up with it and some are not. Noble persons, Aryas, are not in it. When we are happy or unhappy we connect it. They are connected as cause and effect relationship. They are different nature that not the same, khandha and tanha. For someone who connects these not separate. 7. Tell me Sakkaya Ditthi. No intellectual knowledge and not listening to Arya's Dhamma and then take the khandhas as me. With knowledge only Sakkaya and not becomes wrong view. The khandha is Sakkaya and wrong view is interfering with it. It's difficult to dispel wrong view without listening to Dhamma. Therefore the causes for becoming a Sotapanna are 1. Association with the wise. 2. Listening the Dhamma. 3. Wise reflection on it, Yoniso Manashikara. 4. Practice according to the Dhamma, Dhammanu Dhammapatipatti. Where is intellectual knowledge come from? From listening to the Dhamma. Fulfilling these 4 factors will realize the Dhamma. Every day in talk I had mentioned Sakkaya Ditthi as the seed of hell. It's more dangerous than greed, anger, delusion, envy and avarice. If Sakkaya Ditthi is eradicated, 1/4 of greed, anger and delusion are destroyed, including envy, avarice and whatever combined with it. If you don't want to fall into painful rebirths, have to destroy it first. Even you don't fear other kilesas must fear this one. Dana, Sila, Samatha can lead someone to good rebirths, but later pull one downwards to painful rebirths by wrong views. If you are not destroyed, it only temporary rising upwards. Nothing is more fearful than wrong view. Because of this someone can kill one's own mother and father. The 5 heavy kammas come from it. In Sotapanna these kammas are never happened. People said they fear unwholesome dharmas. Don't be fear. If you destroy wrong view, no need to fear any unwholesome dharmas. It's leading other unwholesome dharmas and sending beings to the 8 great hells and 120 small hells. If you see Sakkaya, it dispels wrong view. Why? It becomes right view and the wrong view has to go away. Wrong view must exterminate by right view. Any illness has to be cured by its own medicine. Dana, Sila and Samatha can't overcome it. It's better to do wholesome kammas after dispel wrong view, if not will fall downwards again. The Buddha preferred the kinds of Dana, Sila and Samatha enriched with Vipassana. There are 8 kinds of Dana and the best one is enriched with Vipassana. Mentioned in the Anguttara Nikaya, Sakkaya Ditthi arises because of not knowing the reality. Therefore, knowing the differences clearly and then do the merits. As an example, you shoot a bird with a poison arrow and hit the skin only. It continues to fly as long as the poison not spread enough to the whole body, and then spread enough it will fall down. In the same way, any merits done with wrong view going upward temporary and later pulled downward by wrong view. T3. 8. Why does Sakkaya Ditthi arise? At the time of the Buddha there were noble beings. People had identity view because they didn't approach them and listen to their talks. Nowadays people have this view because they don't have chance for hearing the Dhamma. Not hearing the Dhamma will never dispel this view. Nothing is more important than Sakkaya Ditthi. When the 5 khandhas arise and don't know becomes Sakkaya Ditthi. For example, there is stiffness in the body. Take the air, wind element as I am in stiffness. Someone who knows, it's just the alteration of wind element. Don't mixed up with the I-ness. Wind element is just only wind element. Heat and cold also become, I am in cold. I am in hot. It's just heat elements. Someone has diarrhea. I don't know what happened to me. Take water element as me. Take the four great elements as me. My body is itchy. Not knowing the aggregates of feeling arising and passing away become identity view. I forget is making the I-ness to the lost memory. I want to sleep makes the I-ness to sloth and torpor, the aggregate of formation, sankharakanda. Don't test my mind takes consciousness as me. Every time the phenomena of ultimate reality, paramattha dharma, are arising become wrong view. How many times a day? Uncountable. 9. Why there is no sakkaya ditthi. Whatever arising, contemplate as this is not mine, not I am, not me, then dispels sakkaya ditthi. Contemplate the arising of feeling, mind and mental states as impermanent, suffering, not self. Someone who had dispelled sakkaya ditthi will not fall into the four painful rebirths. 10. What kind of dharma can destroy sakkaya ditthi? Developing the noble eightfold path will overcome it. Are there any differences among them? Yes, they have. The differences are sila, samadhi and panna. Explained the three silas, these are sila maganga, path factors of the precept. Why there are three differences in the samadhi factors? They can't do the job separately. With the help of mindfulness, sati, and effort, viriya, samadhi develops. The commentary gave this example. How do you pluck, a flower, which you can't reach out? One person, first, has to bend his waist and gives his back to another person, second. This second person has to climb on his, first, back. A third person standing beside the first person and gives his shoulder for the second person to hold on it. In the same way in Vipassana, the first person bends his waist and back is like viriya. The third person standing beside is similar to sati. Samadhi is like the second person who plucks the flower. Sati and viriya support samadhi. It is impossible in Vipassana without putting effort, viriya, and mindfulness, sati. In Vipassana, not putting effort, viriya, and no mindfulness, sati, are impossible. Only then samadhi can go straight towards the object. Wanting to develop samadhi, don't let go of mindfulness and don't reduce effort. Only then samadhi can catch hold of impermanence. If you can't discern impermanence, one of them is lacking for the mind going straight away towards the object. These three factors are important. Viriya is pushing from behind and sati is helping it to pluck there. It happens only by combining three together. If one of them is lacking, you must know the situation. If you can know and correct it, your samadhi will go towards the object of impermanence. Samadhi can't see impermanence, only leading towards it. It is the samadhi which can plunge the mind towards where one's need. Only wisdom, jnana, is seeing impermanence. It is also not seen by sati, only pointing towards it. Three of them combine together and point towards a sense object. They can't see impermanence. You must know this point. It's important for the yogis. Samadhi only reaches to the flower. It can't choose good or bad. Why is that? It's only pointing to an object. This one is impermanent, anicca, and conditioned phenomena, sankhara. These are not concerned with samadhi, it only helps the wisdom factors. Tell me wisdom factors. It's right view and right thought. Why these are together? The eyes are in good shape. But to choose a thing for good or bad, there need to be something to turn around the object to be observed. For example, you look at an object and see only this side. It can't see the other side. For seeing the other side, you need to turn over the object. This side is like this and the other side is like that. Right thought providing the view of impermanence. Wisdom is observing the object. Arising is something and passing away is another thing. Someone has to provide this for the seeing. Seeing only the arising and not the passing, and only the passing and not the arising, and then right thought is poor. Samma is right and Sankappa is thinking, turning around, or providing the view. The example I want to give is using the power glasses for the poor eyesight. In this way we'll see like a young boy, we'll see clearly with the help of the glasses. Without the glasses you can see but not clear. Here the eyes are Samma Ditthi and the glasses are right thought. In this way can see the whole process. If you can't see clear, then helping with right thought. It means Vitakka, and it gives strength for the contemplation. Therefore Samadhi and Paññā factors need helps. Then why have Sila factors with the three different nature? If one of them exists, other two are not included. Right speech and right action do their own different jobs respectively. Therefore, one can't help the other during its performance. They have different actions, kamma. Because of their abstaining, they have the same name as Sila but different in jobs. For the yogi who is practicing, it is sometimes with 5 factors and sometimes with 6 factors. Samadhi and Paññā can come in together. But Sila can't come in together, and can't help each other. They can't be included during Vipassana contemplation. If one is included the other are not. When are they coming together? It is at the time of inclining towards Nibbāna element. If not, they will never come together. You keep the Sila only during meditation. Instability of Sila is one of the reasons that they cannot come together. The Sila is unstable before one have right view. Right view develops Vipassana. Someone who has wrong view can't rely on Sila because he is easily to break it. There were monks who had Silas, but couldn't dispel wrong view born as Naga, a type of magical snake, and Laos. The first one was from the Buddha Kassapa's time and the second one was during the Buddha Gautama. Freedom from the 4 painful rebirths is by destroying wrong view. It's the seed of hell which I mention to you every day, it is becoming clear. If you can get rid of Sakkaya Ditthi, Sassata and Uccada Ditthis also gone. Both of them originate from this one. Only Ditthi dies out that you realize the first path, Magga. Ditthi Nirodho Nibbānam cessation of wrong view is Nibbāna. After it had gone, there are no dharmas can prevent or hinder for the higher paths. The Dharma will lead onwards. One also wants to continue. After destroyed wrong view no need to teach him for the higher paths. The Buddha only taught the 4 causes for stream entering, Sotapanna, and not for the higher paths. After Ditthi is gone and doubt also. Therefore, basically preventing all the paths is Ditthi. After destroyed Ditthi no one will continue for more than 7 lifetimes. It's easy to dispel Ditthi. Every time seeing Paramatta Dharma, conditioned phenomena, contemplate as this is not mine, not I am and not myself. Contemplate as impermanent nature. Where is wrong view stuck in? It pierced inside of each 5 khandhas as latent defilement, anasaya kilesa. If you see the impermanence of any khandha and it can't come in. As an example, the dukkha vedana that you are in pain for a long time happens because you can't see the impermanence or cut through the continuity, santati. You take the khandhas as permanence and it comes in. If you can observe the impermanence in details and it will nearly fall away. Seeing it as now arising and now passing away, Ditthi cannot come in. Seeing the impermanence without a gap is very important. If not, Ditthi will come in. Therefore, I am asking you that do you see impermanence more and more? What do you think why I am asking at you? I am worried that Ditthi will come in. If you discern anicca such as you can't put the tip of a needle inside the whole body, then Ditthi cannot come in. If you see this way, it becomes weak and becomes right view. By its nature, the body is packing with impermanence and without gaps. In a second, the mind is arising and passing away at the speed of 10 to the power of 13 times, 100,000 billion times. So it's without a gap. Form is at the speed of 5 times 10 to the power of 11 times, sec. 5,000 billion times. If wrong view has the strength, impermanence will become intermittently. If right view has the strength, impermanence becomes more accelerated. They are combating each other. Don't think what's happening to me today. It was influenced by ditthi. If ditthi is too strong, even can't see it. If right view is too strong, even in the beginning of sitting can see it. Maybe you want to ask me, with only to discern the speed of impermanence in 10 to the power of 13 and 5 times 10 to the power of 11 times sec, can someone realize Nibbāna? You can realize Nibbāna without this kind of rate. It's depended on your own power of discernment. Why? These were the view of someone who had finished the path. They talked about it by their own discernment. It's not for the one who is still in practice. Discernment comes by one's own right view. These were the discernment of Arahants. With one's own discernment will realize the path. If you ask, can other discern in billion times? Again, the answer is it's the view of completion. How can it be the same, the views of worldlings and the noble ones? Why? We have a lot of defilement come in, therefore a lot of life continuum, bhavanga cheetahs, between the processes. The Buddha's discernment had only 2 bhavanga cheetahs between. Sariputta's discernment had only 16 bhavanga cheetahs between. Our discernments have many bhavanga cheetahs between for each seeing. Bhavanga cheetahs are not the problem, because not kilesa cheetahs. If kilesa comes in, it will become problem. Therefore, in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha said that if kilesa not came in between, practicing in the morning and would realize in the evening. Not mentioned about the bhavanga cheetah. Bhavanga cheetahs are normal and the law of Dhamma. The numbers of bhavanga cheetahs are depending on the root of the mind, hetu Dhamma. T4. The Noble Eightfold Path is the middle way. We had never been on the middle way in the whole round of rebirths, samsara. If we had been, would never return. On the path, samadhi is important. 11. What is samadhi? It's called one-pointedness of the mind, ekaggata citta. It can take one object. What is one object? If on feeling and it's only feeling, on the mind and it's only the mind and not all together. Pointing towards on an object and it's called the mind is in one-pointedness. Concentrating on an object is ekaggata. If you can concentrate on an object, defilement can be overcome. 12. What is the sign of samadhi? It's the 4 Satipaṭṭhāna, contemplation on the body, feeling, mind and Dhamma. Samadhi follows sati towards an object. If it's on feeling, it will fall on feeling straight away. In this way know about feeling. If one-pointedness is on the mind and sati fall on it. One-pointedness must work with the Satipaṭṭhāna objects. The sign of samadhi is the body disappeared and knowing the feeling or mind, etc. As examples, in the contemplation of feeling it just falls on feeling, and on the mind and it just falls on the mind. Then it becomes the sign of Satipaṭṭhāna. If discern impermanence, it's also the sign, nimitta. Sati fall on the object and its permanent sign disappeared and impermanent sign appeared in the mind, also the sign of Satipaṭṭhāna. By seeing the impermanent sign appeared, the form and shape of man or woman is disappeared. Therefore, by seeing the sign of impermanence is the sign of Satipaṭṭhāna. Can it be by itself alone leads to realization? It must include the other member of Satipaṭṭhāna. Its effort, viriya. By putting effort towards the object, the permanent sign disappears and Satipaṭṭhāna see the sign of impermanence. This seeing is helping by effort. Viriya and samadhi are the factors of samadhi. Sati and Paññā are the factors of discernment, wisdom. Its qualities we are talking in different ways, and in discerning anicca all factors are there. Can it be realized Nibbāna in this way? It needs to be contemplating for many times, bhavatabba. Why? Kilesa impurities are like a copper bowl. It can be shone only by polishing. From births we had impurities with us like the copper bowl. By not doing the Satipaṭṭhāna practice, one-pointedness practice and not putting effort for practice, then the mind becomes more and more defiled like the bowl. To do this kind of task, you have to meet a teacher and has the kind of ear to listen to the Dhamma. From the days of birth, we are grown up with craving mother and ignorance father. We are grown up on their hands and care. They are very worried that we realize the path and fruit and liberate from their hands. Ignorance covers up the Four Noble Truth, and craving teaches us for affection to mother, sons and properties. We are doing things what they want us to do. So impurities pile up every day. How long it had been. In the whole round of existence it had not been polished before. Between them we also have bodyguards of wrong view. Ditthi always control us and tell us this is your dad and this is your mom. Normally we leave it and never wash and polish it. So it piles up with impurities. This is the reason we can't realize Nibbāna. The volume of ignorance, craving and ditthi are increasing. Therefore, it needs to contemplate for many times. By polishing again and again, the copper bowl which we left for a long time is becoming shining. Must contemplate for many times and put continuous effort. Contemplate continuously, decrease ignorance, craving and ditthi. For inside knowledge to contemplate again and again is needed, and not for path knowledge. Path knowledge sees Nibbāna once only. Even though path knowledge arises only once, it's similar to cross a river by a boat. The boatman puts the loads in a boat and rows it to the other shore. The boat is doing 4 jobs. 1. Leaving this shore. 2. Arriving at the other shore. 3. Carrying the loads. 4. Crossing the water. In the same way, the boat, like the path, is crossing the water of defilement only once. Leaving this shore of Sakkaya Ditthi and arriving at the other shore of Nibbāna is also the boat or the path. The boat is also carrying the loads of khandhas. Path knowledge happens once and finishes 4 jobs. From the impermanence of khandhas it sees the permanence of Nibbāna. Cutting through defilement is the path, and crossing towards Nibbāna, which is without dukkha khandhas, is also the path. During the practice, one-pointedness is important, and also the sign of Satipaṭṭhāna. The helping of effort is also important. All these things happen one time is not enough. It needs to contemplate many times. The Buddha emphasized this point by giving the simile of the mother hen and the eggs. The hen has 3 duties to do. You also have the 3 duties of working with anicca, dukkha and anatta. Without these duties, all the eggs become spoiled and your knowledge becomes blunted. With continuous contemplation the shells of ignorance become thinner. Liquid of craving become dried up. The knowledge of spiked claws, the chicks inside the eggs, becomes sharper. You must spread your body of contemplation on the eggs of impermanence. Only kilesa liquid dries up and the shells of ignorance become thinner. The spiked claws become sharp. The chicks can kick the shells from inside and hatch out. It was like the hen, you have to sit on the eggs very often. If not, it's impossible. Light appears means realize Nibbāna. When the kilesa liquid dry up and the shells of ignorance thin out, we'll see the light. The spiked claws, which are similar to knowledge, become sharp. The Buddha said that the one who contemplated would destroy the taints, asavas. With kilesa the mind can't penetrate. Even kilesa itself is inconstant. It has the power of repetition condition, asavana pakaya. Therefore, the mind can't penetrate. When you go back home, observe the body, don't see it as a lump of form. Contemplate feeling, the mind, and if you know how to do it, the form will disappear. If you can't, the form of hand, feet, hair, etc., the 32 parts of the body can be appeared. Only the form disappears, you are reaching the point. Dhammadinna talked about the factors of awakening. The analysis of qualities as a factor of awakening, Dhamma Vikaya Sambojjhanga, is the path factors of right view, Samma Ditthi. She used the factors of awakening there. It is the way to Nibbāna that use it as body, awakening. Body means knowing. It also included contemplation for many times, Bhavita Bahulakata, in the factors of awakening. Therefore, right view and analysis of qualities are the same things. Right view is not enough for seeing only, but need to contemplate for many times as the factors of awakening show it. People may think path factors are no need to contemplate for many times. So, I talk about them here. Both of them are wisdom factors. If you do the path factors again and again, including awakening factors, why talk about two things? Path factors talk about cutting off defilement and awakening factors about increasing the factors. By contemplating again and again and not seeing Nibbāna yet, but don't take it as wasting time. The Buddha gave this simile, the handle of a carpenter's adze. Using it for one time, the handle was eroded once. If you're continuously using it, it continuously eroded. It can't come to be by prayers, as later traditions. At first the handle becomes smooth out, and then slowly the finger's print appears on the handle. The thickness of kilesa developed from the round of rebirths is so thick that without continuous contemplation can it be thinned out. Therefore, insight meditation has the outcome of reducing kilesa. Don't be disappointed and giving up. If kilesa thins out, the practice is developing. Every time seeing impermanence, every time it's thinning out. Seeing more and more, it becomes thinner and thinner. Contemplation is stopping the process of dependent arising to continue. First kilesa thin out and later with its extinction. Effort also has to develop. You might think it's not including rapture, piti. Already it's inside the samadhi. I am talking about only the leading factor. It's included as association with samadhi. Every good feeling of contemplation includes piti. Not as the leader of the path factors but as follower. Contemplation without piti, laziness will follow. Therefore, the Buddha asked to contemplate with joy and interest. Seeing something as you'd never seen before, so contemplate with gladness. I will explain the matter of seeing something never seen before. With the eyes of the Brahma gods can see a needle in the human world. They can see the needle from 400 billion yojanas far away, 4 times 10 to the 10 miles. 1 yojana equals 10 kilometers. But they do not see the Anaka. They saw it with the worldly eyes, Lokya. Here we see with the supermundane eyes. So your discernment of Anaka is better than the views of the Brahma gods. A rock tablet falls from the Brahma world to the earth will take 1.5 months to arrive here. Theirs are the divine eyes. The eyes belong to the time of outside the Buddha's teaching. They're samadhi eyes. Here are the knowledge eyes, Nana eyes. It's not easy to have this knowledge. Here it's itching and here it's passing away. Feeling appears and disappears. So it's Nana eyes. Dhammavikaya eyes, or you can call it the eyes of right view or knowledge eyes. The worldling gods and Brahma gods don't realize Nibbāna, because they are lacking of this eyes. Therefore after they are passing away will return to the human world and to the animal realm. 100,000 years before the doomsday, human beings become fear of the day to come. Therefore many people would develop the divine abiding, Brahmavihara Dharma, and most of them became the Brahma gods. All these are by samatha practice, and when the time come will fall back again. Even though this eye can see the small needle from far away, can't discern the nature of the 3 characteristics. They practiced samatha for the craving of becoming, bhava tanha. They also had the unwholesome kamas with them. After falling from the Brahma realms, even some of them become pigs, not directly from there but Devatas can. See Subrahma Deva's story. You all had become Brahmas before, and as Devatas for uncountable times. But you had never been free from old age, sickness and death, and never had the eyes of insight before. Nothing is more valuable than this eye. The pleasures of heavenly gods are good, but Sakka, king of the Tavatimsa heaven, himself came down to the earth for practice. He had the kamic eyes and not the knowledge eyes. Discerning impermanence is nobler than Sakka and the great Brahma gods. After seeing Anicca, then come the knowledge of disenchantment, Nibbāna, and the ending of Anicca ashore for the realizing of Nibbāna. You must work hard to get these eyes. In the future you can't meet a good teacher and the sasana like this. Comparing with the whole world, very few people have these eyes. Therefore, you have to contemplate in order to see more and clearer. Don't exchange with them the status of heavenly gods and Brahma gods. You are gold and they are salt. You must know one's own value. They have to make wishes for becoming human beings to get this knowledge. T5. Visākha asked Dhammadinna on the attainment of cessation, Nirodha Samapatti. This is nothing to do with you all and useful. So let us continue to another question. How many feelings are there? There are 3 feelings in the body: pleasant, unpleasant and neutral feelings. If one of them exists, the other not, and always one of them is there. Every time it needs to catch on with one of them. For our practice, let us extend the knowledge about them. At the physical body, pleasant or unpleasant feelings or sensations can appear. From the eye, ear, nose and tongue are neutral feelings. Why? In the seeing, just seeing only, because it is neutral feeling. After seeing, it's better not to continue. In hearing, just hearing, do not become pleasant or unpleasant about it. In smelling, just smelling and also stay neutral. If you react to it as disappointment, then the mind arrives at the active phase of cognitive process, i.e. Jivana Chitta. It becomes the mind with aversion. In the beginning state it was neutral. In eating, just eating is also neutral. Reacting to it as I like or I don't like, and it becomes a Jivana Chitta. There are itches, aches, and pains, etc. These are happening at their own places. When the body is cold, unpleasant feeling arises, and by warming with fire become comfortable right pointing arrow, i.e. pleasant feeling. Today, we're using feeling on practice. If you have some satisfaction in the heart, it's pleasant mental feeling, somanassa vedana. No satisfaction is unpleasant mental feeling, domanassa vedana. Whatever happening, it is all right and become neutral feeling. All the feelings which I had just mentioned, if one of them is there, then the other are excluded. Why the Buddha called them the feeling aggregate? It's because feelings are happening all the times. Do you need to look for feeling or don't know they're arising? On the body, pleasant and unpleasant feelings, sukha and dukkha, and in the heart, pleasant and unpleasant mental feelings, somanassa and domanassa, exclude the tips of the hairs, tips of the finger and toenails, and everywhere feeling can arise. Feeling is conditioned phenomena, e.g. feeling arises in the eyes is by the contact of the eyes and form. If the eyes are blind, can't arise. It is only sankhara and fall into anicca. Sabbe sankhara anicca. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Its arising is conditioned by others. If you can contemplate anicca, it becomes mindfulness of feeling. If you don't, after seeing it becomes wanting, then continues to craving, clinging and action, tanha, upadana, kama. Note: Sayadaw always uses the dependent arising in his talks. Therefore, we need to understand the 12 links of paticcasamuppada. Seeing the thing as disgusting, then the anger of dependent arising process continues. Seeing without mindfulness become unknowing, which lead to the dependent arising of ignorance. No insight meditation from the eye door creates the 3 ways of dependent arising for the round of rebirths. By not knowing these, we think that it doesn't matter. But to the Buddha, not knowing the dependent arising, it's better to use the hot iron bar to poke the eyes. This makes for dying once. Every time seeing without knowing, leading to painful rebirths, and will die for many times. While seeing, contemplate quickly as conditioned phenomena and inconstant, then the dependent arising is cutting off the 3 unwholesome dharmas to arise, i.e. lobha, dosa and moha. Dhammadinna answered the question, and I show you how to use it for practice, then it becomes clearer. Knowing the arising and passing away can be freed from the taints, asava. From seeing, if craving arises, it becomes the taint of sensual pleasure. Not knowing is the taint of ignorance. It's easy to talk. In the real contemplation it becomes late. Can you stop at just seeing? If you can't stop, then contemplate impermanence quickly. The Buddha said that by contemplating impermanence of feeling near death could become Arahant or destroyed the taints. Sariputta realized the first path, Magga, by contemplating on the body and the later three paths by feeling. His realization came by during the time of listening to the Buddha's talk. The mind became sharper by contemplating on the inconstancy of feeling. This is contemplating of feeling and at the same time by following of the Buddha's teaching. Realization can't come by just listening to the talk. Listening and contemplation together can become stream enterer to arahantship in stage by stage. Therefore, I taught you very often that the ears listening to the talk and the mind observing the khandhas. Just by listening only and without contemplation can't develop the enlightenment. The mind can't sharp, can't see the truth, can't erode defilement and can't see Nibbāna. By listening and put effort in practice. Don't listen only just for merits. In the suttas it mentioned that by listening and also contemplating. Without this can't stop craving and wrong view. In hearing, also the same, it's conditioned phenomena. Without knowing conditioned phenomena can't know anicca. In the body whatever arising is conditioned phenomena. Their nature is ending with impermanence. Its arising is becoming and passing away is dying. If you can contemplate in this way, it is pajanati, means knowing. What do you know? Knowing the inconstancy of conditioned phenomena. Dhyānika listened to the same talk and contemplated impermanence and then became a Sotapanna. He was Sariputta's nephew. Both of them listened to the talk on Vedana given by the Buddha. You can contemplate in this way and three ways of dependent co-arising will not arise. Tongue and taste are also in the same way. Yada Paññā pasati, observe with wisdom when they're arising. The contact of the physical body and outside objects are also in the same way. Body sensitivity, kayapassada, comes into existence by kamma. If a being is still alive, this kamma is not finished yet, and then body sensitivity will continue to exist. It is too cold, then become aversion to it. Therefore, if you know it is cold, then instantly, yada Paññā pasati, contemplate it as impermanence. You know the conditioned phenomena is arising, it has to be arising, samadaya, and passing away, vaya. In reality you see the truth of dukkha, dukkha sakka. Seeing is the truth of the path, magga sakka. If you discern dukkha completely, then it becomes the path knowledge. Not complete discernment is only inside knowledge. Why were Visākha and Dhammadinna talking about feeling? Because it is the quickest way to arahantship. It was also mentioned by the Buddha. Sayadaw quoted the Pali verse from a sutta. Therefore, contemplation on feeling was included in Satipaṭṭhāna sutta, because it can reach the goal by itself. Sariputta and Dhyānika finished the practice with feeling and no other contemplation. By contemplating feeling others also include. In contemplation take it as a main contemplation. Not knowing the arising does not know the passing away, and then it conceals the truth of dukkha. The Buddha also mentioned that all phenomena arising from the body are the truth of dukkha. Not seeing sankhara can't contemplate anicca. In the Q&A of Visākha and Dhammadinna, they talked about the types of insight only, both of them already knew the details. Here I use it for describe the practice. Contemplate impermanence of whatever feeling is arising. They are arising all the times. I only concern you of not knowing the arising. Not knowing is ignorance. Whatever arising is dukkha sakka. Dukkha ananam, not knowing dukkha is ignorance. Ignorance does not stay in this way, and will do something according to its own power. Physical action, verbal action and mental action will follow behind ignorance. I'll talk about it later. If ignorance comes in, one will become shameless and fearless of consequence like an animal. These words came from the Avijja Sutta of Mahavagga Samyutta, SN 45. 1. Avijjasattam. How bad it is. Not knowing of whatever arising at the 6 sense doors, doesn't know the truth of dukkha. In this way one is creating actions, kamma, mostly unwholesome actions every day. In short, insight meditation is contemplation of the truth of dukkha. The contact of thought and mind sensitivity, mind door, create pleasant or unpleasant feelings. These are conditioned phenomena. If become dukkha nanam, knowing dukkha, then it is knowledge. Avijja nirodha sankhara nirodho. With the cessation of ignorance, volitional formation also ceases, wholesome and unwholesome actions. And then sankhara nirodha vijnana nirodho. With the cessation of volitional formation, consciousness also ceases. Birth is ended. It is the cessation of birth. Ajati, without birth, is Nibbāna. It is clear that contemplation has the benefit of cutting through dukkha. By doing the job of knowing dukkha, craving, samadaya, is ceased, and realizes the cessation of dukkha, nirodha. Every time knowing dukkha is factors of the path, magga, it done the duty of the Four Noble Truths at the same time. By contemplation of impermanence knows the others. Sayadaw continued to talk about neutral feeling of the mind. Every moment of contemplation realizes the momentary Nibbāna. It is worthy of doing it. You have to contemplate the 5 kinds of feeling. The path knowledge appears after craving ceases. One clears up one's own dangers by contemplation. Greed, anger and delusion are inner enemies. If you are giving many reasons for not doing it, you are following the reasoning of the defilement of craving. It is just for your own suffering. T6. Visākha asked, not contemplate pleasant, unpleasant and neutral feelings, what will happen? Not contemplate pleasant feeling, latent defilement of craving will follow. She answered shortly. But you must know that craving, clinging and action will follow. It continues to becoming, existence, which birth will follow. This is the natural law. If died with the pleasant feeling, so-called pita jati, the birth of hungry ghost. From the point of taints, it's followed by taint of sensual pleasure, kamasava. It refers to greed. With kamasava and bhavasava, taint of becoming, will follow behind. It is very rare to find someone with contemplation. People are smiling with pleasant feeling. Not contemplate unpleasant feeling, anger will follow. This anger arise from ignorance will lead to animal birth. This is followed by the taint of ignorance, avijjasava. This taint follows up to the highest heavens, i.e. Arupa Brahma gods, and the knowledge of change of lineage, gotrabu nana, in insight meditation. When these feelings are arising, make effort to contemplate. If not, it is the path to Pita and animal realms. Not contemplate neutral feeling, the taint of ignorance will follow. This feeling is subtle, only for someone who has knowledge can know about it. Mostly it leads to the animal rebirth. Is it not frightening? Even performing merits without surrounded by insight and then ignorance following with it. It gives advantage to craving. With ignorance the people perform prayers with craving. Then follow by the taints of sensual pleasure, becoming and ignorance. Therefore, there are more merit makings for the continuation of rebirth than liberation from it. These are not the results of merits. It is the cause of ignorance without knowing and continues with one's own wishes. Indeed, it is rare to find a teacher who can teach people what the Buddha intended for. Visākha asked, do these 3 latent defilements follow behind feelings all the time? The answer was not always. A person who practices insight meditation is not followed by them if he contemplates impermanence. This is one way of admonishing. I have to admonish you the second way the Buddha mentioned, that merits could give the results up to jhanas, paths and fruits. But wrong knowledge becomes the cause of repeated births. It is the cause of the merit makers. Generosity, karga, is giving up, so it is killing the craving, tanha. It is giving up mine, so killing wrong view. Therefore, dana is the dharma of killing tanha and ditthi. If you don't know how to do it, it becomes I have so I give, then ditthi come in. I give it so I will enjoy the fruit and then craving come in. So, knowledge and wisdom are very important in our daily lives. It is depending on the guidance of a wise teacher. Must know how to choose the teaching and always think about that these teachings are reaching to the heart or not, connection with the Four Noble Truths. If leading to the truth it is precious. The Buddha admitted that he himself did not know the truth before, had to wander for a long time in the round of rebirth. Someone has moral virtue, sila. What should he do? Have to contemplate anicca, dukkha, anatta, etc., the 11 contemplations, disease, tumor, dirt, misery, affliction, alien, disintegrating, empty, anicca, dukkha and anatta. It was questioned by Mahakotthita, or Mahakotthika, and answered by Sariputta. Someone has sila and practice vipassana can realize the path and fruit. Dhammadinna described on the practice. When pleasant feeling arises it is pleasant, and passing away it is dukkha. Therefore, contemplate as dukkha sakha, and then it cut off the taint of sensual pleasure in the dependent co-arising. When unpleasant feeling arise it is painful, and passing away it is sukha. For neutral feeling, someone has sharp faculty discerns anicca. Unpleasant feeling is the opposite of pleasant feeling. We have to contemplate when they arise. Only one can arise. When sukha arises contemplate sukha, and dukkha arises contemplate dukkha. Contemplate both as the truth of dukkha. What is their opposite? Neutral feeling, it means when it arises the other two are not there. When upekkha arises must contemplate upekkha. If not, we think that nothing is there. One of them is always arising. Don't say we can't find anything to contemplate. It is similar to say as there is no impermanence. It is also like seeing Nibbāna. All the feelings cease is Nibbāna. Therefore, continue to contemplate until all feelings are ended. When the mind can't penetrate these three feelings it can be mixed up because the mind follows late. The khandha arise quicker than the mind which is observing. That means defilement come in between them. This makes the realization slower. During contemplation sometimes sukha or dukkha or neutral feeling continuously arising. For example, for sukha Vedana has with one sukha and with one knowing, i.e. nana, etc. Each feeling with each contemplation defilement cannot come in between them. For example, if pain arises and it's continuously painful, then the mind can't penetrate it. And aversion comes in between them. If pleasant feeling continuously pleasant, the mind can't penetrate it either. Kilesa comes in between them. For the yogis this point is very important. If neutral feeling continues, the mind can't penetrate it. Ignorance comes in between them. Greed follows behind sukha, anger follows behind dukkha and ignorance follows behind neutral feeling respectively. It is not easy to talk about these things. In real practice you have to know that kilesa really come in or not. Is your mind able to catch on with each anicca? You have to observe it. If you don't, then increase your effort. You will realize Nibbāna. Not realizing is because of kilesa come in between the practice. Inside knowledge, vipassana nana, is the forefront knowledge. The first thing has to develop. The right view of inside knowledge comes beforehand. Only then the right view of path knowledge, which is seeing Nibbāna, will follow. In these two right views, vipassana right view becomes sharper and Nibbāna becomes closer. Without laziness in the practice, then you will realize it. Without vipassana right view the leader of the path right view can't arise. It was mentioned in the Sagatha Vagga Samyutta. SN.1.46. 6. Akarasatam, Adita Vago, Devata Samyutta, Sagatha Vagga, Samyutta. The knowledge of conformity, Anuloma Nana, is still in the stage of anicca. It conditions the knowledge of change of lineage, Gotrabu Nana, which sees Nibbāna with proximity condition, Anantarapakayo. Why I use it here? It describes the natural process without a being. It will arise accordingly to the natural law. Knowledge of the path comes only after the knowledge of change of lineage and seeing Nibbāna. Therefore, without the knowledge of insight and path, knowledge can't happen. Even stand between them is the knowledge of change of lineage. Don't let disappointment and doubt come in. Maybe I am a two-rooted person, duituka. Had I done something wrong to someone? So I can't realize Nibbāna. Don't let these mental states come in. The Buddha guaranteed that if you could listen to the truth of Dhamma and discerned Anicca, and then you would realize it, from Anguttara Nikaya. If no defilement comes in between Anicca and contemplation, you will realize it. Don't think about these things. In some people their doubts and remorse lead them into painful rebirths, preventing them from realization. There comes the knowledge of change of lineage after the insight knowledge, and next comes the path knowledge. These are the process of the law of Vithicita, consciousness belonging to a cognitive process. They are always in this process. Worry and remorse, kakaka, are very bad dharma and danger of the path. Yogi will destroy himself. All the practices never become fruitless. The Buddha also gave encouragement. During the dying moment, the practicing yogi, by putting effort in contemplation, can enter the stream to non-returner. If not happen in this way, by dying with the mind of insight knowledge, will take rebirth in the heavenly realm. As soon as born there and enter the stream. The Buddha mentioned this definitely, Anguttara Nikaya. If kakaka comes in, contemplate its impermanence. After that continue one's own contemplation, e.g. Vedana, mind etc. For someone who contemplates on feeling, worry is unpleasant mental feeling, domanassa. In contemplation of mind, worry is mind with aversion. Don't look for it. It comes for contemplation. This point is very important. Visākha asked, what is the opposite of neutral feeling? Dhammadinna answered, it's ignorance. It is true, every time neutral feeling arises and not knowing it is ignorance. And then what is the opposite of ignorance? The answer is knowledge or knowing, vijja. If one of them there the other is not. Therefore, your contemplation is the path of knowledge. This is the work of true knowledge arising, vijja udapadi, and discernment knowledge arising, nana udapadi. What is the opposite of vijja? It is fruition, phala. Vijja is nana, knowledge. Fruition is the free mind, vimutti citta. What is the opposite of fruition? It is Nibbāna. Why? For the fruition mind to arise have to practice a lot. It is conditioned phenomena, sankhata dharma. Nibbāna exists as unconditioned dharma and without cause. So they are opposite. Visākha was very pleased with her answer. And then the Buddha asked to contemplate fruition as impermanence, because it is conditioned, from the Paññā. It is sankhata dharma, so ending with anicca. For Nibbāna just only incline towards it. Whatever impermanence contemplates impermanence. Those which is permanent just incline towards it. It means stay with the peaceful mind. Therefore I have to mention that incline the mind to the ending of arising and passing phenomena as ending. Don't contemplate Nibbāna. It is not a dharma for contemplation. It is a reviewing dharma, pakavekana, an investigating dharma. What is its characteristic and quality? Can it be investigated in this way? It does not matter. The path is impermanent and fruition also impermanent. Contemplate conditioned as impermanence, sankhata. As for unconditioned Nibbāna, reviewing as that it's. For ending the Dharma talk, to realize Nibbāna start from the conditioned. Conditioned knowledge is not the path knowledge, only insight knowledge. The kinds of knowledge which come out from the conditioned are path knowledge and fruition knowledge. Insight knowledge is taken the objects of conditioned. Contemplate conditioned as anicca is insight knowledge. After the ending of the insight knowledge, you will see the unconditioned, i.e. Nibbāna. Why? It is free from the conditioned. Vipassana practice is finished when the practice of the conditioned is ended. Then the knowledge inclined towards the unconditioned will happen. You can't find Nibbāna inside the province of conditioned. If it is possible, it must be Ditthi Nibbāna, wrong view Nibbāna. Eating is good, drinking is good, and people take these things as momentary Nibbāna. It is wrong view Nibbāna. Therefore, if you want Nibbāna, have to come out from the province of conditioned. If you don't know the condition, then can't find out the exit. The arising is conditioned and the passing away is anicca. If you can't see this, then it is impossible. At first, make oneself from blind worldling into right view worldling, kalyana padajana. And then realize the path knowledge of noble view and you will see Nibbāna. Blind worldling does not see the conditioned but good worldling see it. If he sees the unconditioned then becomes a noble person must develop in these ways. Before encountering a spiritual friend, everyone is blind. If you find one, you'll become a good worldling. For example, when Sariputta and Maha Moggallana met Sanjaya, their first teacher, they were blind worldlings. They became good worldlings after met with Assaji, one of the first 5 disciples of the Buddha, later becoming noble persons. Don't take the blind worldling as 3-rooted or 2-rooted person, Tihetuka or Duituka, only as without a good spiritual friend. Before not met the Buddha, all were in blindness. Therefore, don't have doubt about it.